Yes.
Good evening and welcome to the June 3rd, 2013 meeting of the BUHS 6 Board. We're starting almost on time, and I want to thank Ricky for filling in for me at the last meeting. I hope everything was really smooth, and that's great. Thank you. We'll start out with, as usual, with the clerk's report, and that would include the approval of minutes for May 20th. Is there a motion?
Move the clerk's report.
Okay, the minutes.
Oh, and the minutes.
Yeah. There'll be maybe more to the report, but okay. This is the minutes of the May 20th meeting. Okay, is there a second to that? Okay. Melanie? Yeah. Okay, any additions, deletions, or corrections? I would, yes.
The only thing I noticed was it said under the BAM's report that the students had taken a trip, but I think that when we were told about the trips, they hadn't taken them yet. They were going to be taken. So I don't know if that needs to be adjusted.
Okay, well, we can. On the BAM's, I don't see that. Oh, on administrative. Okay, BAM's committee, okay. 7th and 8th grade teams took school trips. Okay, we can correct that. I would also just like to have the list of absent and present just reflect mine being excused. Because I was called away by the superintendent, and I was doing school business, so I don't want my record to be marred by that. But it's just a little peccadillo that I have about attendance. So Barb said that if we were agreeable to that, she would make sure when the report comes out, make sure that I don't get a detention.
He actually did overtime for the board.
I did overtime, yes. It was hard work.
Yes.
Overtime.
There goes that hourly wage.
Yes. Right.
Lower and lower by the minute.
36 an hour now?
Time and a half, so yeah, it's going to be like $1.
Anyway, that's a small point, but anything else, additions, corrections, or deletions? Okay. All in favor of approving as amended? Just two? Aye. Okay. And opposed? And I will abstain because I was excused. Thank you. And Ms. Ruth. Okay. Are there any communications to come before the board? Anything else for the clerk's report? Okay. Recognition of groups and individuals. We have two people here representing WRCC who are going to report later under the WRCC report. We won't be too long till we get to that.
Okay.
Right. Karen DeSayers and Diane Howden, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So is there a motion to move into consent agenda?
So moved.
Sean, is a second? There's Russ over there. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No opposed or abstentions. We're in consent agenda, and we'll start with finance.
Okay, I
Got
guess
a couple of meetings to talk about, haven't you, Ruth?
Oh, I think there's only one.
Oh, is that other one? You had 2 weeks in a row.
We had two the last time around.
Yeah.
The Finance Committee met at 7 a.m. on May 22nd, and we approved vouchers number 1222, 1223, 1224, 1225, 1226, 1227, 1229, 1230, and 1231, and 1233 for a total of $234,503.42. And we really didn't have a lot else to talk about that meeting.
Next meeting,
Next meeting will be Wednesday, the 5th of June at 7 a.m. at the WSESU office.
and I believe Jim Kane has scheduled for us to meet with a potential food service providers. I don't know if he's contacted the rest of the committee yet, which will take us a little bit longer, and hopefully people are able to do that. Apparently, we need to move on that fairly quickly. So I would have thought Jim would have contacted Lori and Sean today. No?
Oh, I did get something from Jim, but I don't think it was about the...
Okay.
Is
Well,
there
I believe
estimated-
he scheduled those, because I asked if the 17th, which would be our, and he's showing the 26th as our next meeting, whether the second week out would be okay, and he thought that was kind of late to get things going, so, but,
You can forward it to me and I can look at it tomorrow.
yeah.
Was there an
Well,
estimated?
it was just an email saying he was going to contact the rest of the committee, that's all,
Oh, okay.
so.
Yeah, no,
Probably forwarding that.
I may
Want me to
have it.
prove that I'm not making this stuff up, right? Okay. All right.
Is there an estimated runtime for the meeting?
Probably at least another hour. So if that's a problem, I've made arrangements to be able to stay. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit of a late notice, but so that's the next finance meeting. Anything else for finance?
Not that I'm aware of. Do you have
Okay.
anything, Mr. Woodward?
I do not. There's a couple of items that are kind of pending, long pending discussions on the water usage and a couple of other things, but until we have something to chew on there, we'll held in abeyance. Okay, teacher curriculum.
Teacher curriculum met earlier this evening, and we spent the time just going over more 1% funds requests and approving those 1% requests. And there's some really interesting stuff going on. I'm interested to see next year how it all pans out. So we'll be looking at that more in the future once they're all done with the 1% request projects.
Okay, BAMS committee.
The BAMS committee also met earlier this evening, and at that point we did 1% requests there as well, and we approved those 1% requests, and we finished just in time to come.
Yes, you did. Thank you. I inadvertently left off planning and policy, which is at the bottom of the
Which
previous
is okay
page.
since planning policy is not master, so.
Okay. There are, under unfinished business.
We
there's
do have some
additional-
policies, since we haven't met, we're not ready to move forward
Right.
on those, so we'll just be pushing those off.
Okay, all right. All right, WRCC has not met, I don't believe, since the last meeting. Okay, anything else under consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
I move we approve consent agenda.
And a second?
Second.
I don't know who was first.
Lori.
First, second.
Lori.
Okay, all in favor?
Was loud.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. And we'll move on to administrative reports, and I think we'll start with the Career Center tonight. Mr. Burnett, as your guest involved.
Yes. Tonight's report will consist of Diane Heileman and Karen DeSaris. They have been instrumental this year with our literacy project that we've incorporated throughout the Career Center, and it's been very successful. So we wanted to share our successes with all of you, and they have a quick little PowerPoint they're going to share as well. So Karen and Diane, thank you.
Waiting weeks for this.
working on it.
I know. Should I talk?
Yes, talk
Sure.
about
Should I
that.
talk about the project?
Sure.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about the project. It's kind of Diane's piece, how we began this. We do the AccuPlacer test every year in the beginning of the year at the Career Center. Are you familiar with what AccuPlacer is? It's a College Board test that tests reading, sentence skills, arithmetic, algebra. And you need an 85 in reading, an 85 in sentences, and a 66 in arithmetic in order to get into most colleges without having to take remedial classes. We found that there were some programs at the Career Center whose scores were not up there. They were not, and that's a 10th grade reading level. 85, 85, 66 is kind of the tune that we say. So we decided we were going to do something about it. We get these scores every single year and we go, oh, wow, Johnny only got a 60. You know, what are we going to do? So we decided to be very direct, very consistent, and very intentional in the work that we were going to do to help these students. So we chose 3 instructors and 3 programs at the Career Center to start last semester. I met with them. I'm the literacy coach, by the way. Sorry, I've been hired as a literacy coach. I met with them in May of last year to talk about their interest in the program and to talk about some of the things that we would be doing. And they were all excited and very, very enthusiastic about it. They are very good teachers, and they just needed a little support and maybe some more ideas, and I created a team of these teachers, which was Bob Simeon, Jim Valliere, and Sam Rowley for horticulture, automotive, and construction. That's right. And we worked together for the whole year, or for the whole first semester, on ways to increase reading comprehension. And I really focused on fluency because reading fluency is the bridge between word recognition and comprehension. All of the students can read. They can read the words. There's not a problem there at all. They don't always understand what they're reading because they're spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the word is and how it fits in context. So we did a number of things. We did front-loading vocabulary, which is letting the students become familiar with the words in their content area, in their construction field and horticulture and automotive before you actually go into the lesson. And they did that. They had some very amazing, as a group, as a team, they were so creative in ways that they could do that for students and not have the students go, oh, vocabulary, or oh, spelling. I mean, the students really did enjoy it. And every single day they came in looking forward to doing this. Because one of my kind of things is consistency. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it every day. So every morning, every class that started, they would have a set agenda that they were going to do with the front-loading vocabulary. I want to keep going? So we did that. The other piece that we did was I tested them on reading fluency when they first started their program using the Ohio Literacy Alliance fluency testing, where we bought some really cool earphones with the microphone coming out like an airline pilot, so the kids, they really kind of got into it, and thumb drives. And so they read a passage in September, and I rated their fluency, and there's a scale that you rate it on, words per minute, and graphed that out. In the middle of the semester, I tested them again with a content-related article. So in automotive, for instance, I had Jim give me an article on winter tires, and Bob was vinyl siding. And it was amazing to me the difference of how much better their comprehension was when they were actually reading content-related material from a program. That's why they're at the Career Center. They want to learn construction, they want to learn horticulture, they want to learn automotive, and they just read so much better and smoother. Also because we were doing all these things as well to prepare them for it. The other thing we did was paired reading, which is very, very important for reading fluency. If you remember in elementary school when you would have to read out loud and everybody hated it because, especially the child who perhaps wasn't a good reader, it was very embarrassing for him to read out loud. That's your biggest bang for the buck in terms of fluency in students. So we found some incredibly creative, instructors were amazing, creative ways to have the students read aloud to each other, and it was just amazing. They didn't balk. They really didn't balk. I could go into how they did it, but it's kind of complicated and it's different for every class. The other thing we did was Learning Express, which is a program that's sponsored by VSAT, and it's an online tutorial. And they didn't have a particular one for construction or horticulture or automotive, so I chose to do the work keys preparation for career readiness. And the students also really, really loved that too. We didn't call it a test, we called it just, this is an exercise that you're going to do. Testing, the word test brings out all kinds of uncomfortable feelings for a lot of students. So even the reading, we called it an assessment, a reading assessment. And Diane can now, so we did this for the whole semester. I worked with the teachers supporting them. I was not in the classroom doing any teaching. It's their class, it's their curriculum. They just needed to be supported knowing that they were doing the right thing and help my coming up with some ideas that would really work for them. And the results were, I think, more than any of us had hoped.
Right. I'm going to back up just a little bit, and I apologize for the technical difficulties here. But we actually started planning in the spring of last year based on AccuPlacer reading comprehension results. And the AccuPlacer is a suite of assessments that's created by College Board, who's brought to you the SATs assessments as well. And the Career Center is this suite of assessments in reading, sentence skills, and math at the beginning of every school year and at the end of every school year for our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And we use these scores to help plan students' classes and to give them any kind of help that they may need, because those assessments show and the knowledge that the students have and also the lack of knowledge. If a student's having problems with vocabulary and reading, that will show up on the assessment. If they have problems with fractions or word problems or algebraic expressions, these types of assessments will show up with specifically what those students are in need of. So we thought we would focus in on our reading comprehension scores, because in the last 4 years, a benchmark for reading comprehension, we look at an 85, and that's from the lowest 20, the top is 120. 85 is basically a 10th grade reading level. And our local community college, CCV, uses that benchmark of 85 to place students in their college-ready classes. And I wanted to add, too, that AccuPlacer is used across the country in many different colleges to place students in college-level classes. And they could also be used instead of SAT scores. So anyway, in the past 4 or 5 years, we have been seeing our incoming students, 70% of our incoming students are falling below that 85 benchmark. And they're not just falling a little bit below, some are falling quite a bit below that 85. So this is another reason why we thought we'd go for this literacy coaching pilot program. The Career Center has put in place a career and college readiness pathway in the last 4 years, which has allowed our teacher, Marty Litch, to help kids on an individual basis increase any of those AccuPlacer scores. So we thought we'd build the program a little bit bigger to incorporate the instructors and to see about bringing literacy into their content program area. With Karen coming into the classroom, working with the teacher starting on day 1, we actually started in the fall of 2012 with the 3 programs. We also, at the very beginning of the semester, tested all the students in fluency, writing, and AccuPlacer, because we have found that those 3 go very well together. If you can't read aloud, if you can't write, you're probably not comprehending it either. So those 3 really come together. So we tested all the students at the beginning of the semester and at the end of the semester, and in all those different assessments, we saw an increase, at least 50 to 60% increase in the students' improvement. Some even went up 2 to 4 levels of grade levels in their improvements. So based on that, we started on our second semester. The spring semester was the second group of instructors. And in the fall of this coming year, we're going to be working with 3 new instructors. And in the meantime, supporting those instructors that we've already put in place. And another piece that we're working on, school-wide at the Career Center, we're working on a project called Career Prompts, which is basically a journal writing that every teacher will be doing once a week with all of their students, and we're incorporating some professional development and increasing literacy in the programs as well. And the real key to this is expanding what the teacher's already doing and using their skills and customize it to really base it on their strengths and their program. We've had great success with our instructors. They're very supportive.
They've been really fabulous. I think they were really yearning for someone to help them do a better job of teaching reading, because you ask any teacher who doesn't teach English Lit, and they'll say, no, I'm not a reading teacher. And I've always said, well, if you ask your students to read, you're a reading teacher, and we're going to help you. And they were like very excited, very cooperative, very enthusiastic, shared ideas. The team that was created was amazing. So it's now pretty well embedded, and we're gonna keep going in those programs.
What are the 3 new programs?
Well, the one I started, construction,
Yeah.
automotive, and horticulture, and that was in the fall.
Yeah.
I continue to support them. They see me coming and they go, oh my God. And I'm just supporting them. And this year it's law enforcement and forestry.
And in the fall will be culinary, early childhood ed,
and forestry again, because forestry had a year-long program and it was really difficult to start in the middle of the semester with a full-fledged fluency. He did a lot, Dennis Hamilton, but he's going to stay on for the full thing in the fall, which is very good.
So we're about wrapped up. I do have some very pretty charts over there that you would have seen on the screen, but they're over there on the table, and they've got all this data as well. So help yourself to those wonderful charts. And does anybody else have any questions?
I would just say we're very fortunate to have Karen working with us. She had an extensive career at CCV. Karen started working with us when we started the collegiate high school program. And she used to teach these courses at CCV. And so the fact that she's been available to us working with us is really a great
Thank you.
Great thing.
It's been a joy.
Yeah.
It really has. The teachers here are amazing. How much they care about the kids, and I love the students. It kind of is my teaching fix too, because I've taught for a number of years, and I love to teach. So.
And Diane has been great in terms of her involvement with the collegiate high school as well as the Career Center. You know, the whole issue about the AccuPlacer, this is really a determining factor for students that go off to college, whether they are ready for college. And, you know, many of us, when we first went into college, we might have been assigned a remedial math or English course because we didn't make the cut scores. That's true for our kids as well. So our students at the Career Center in the high school that are getting this sort of background before they go into college, you know, it leads to much more success in terms of their completing a 4-year degree in 4 years. There's a national statistic that something like, you guys probably know, 50% of the students that have to take a remedial course their first year in college drop out of college.
Right. And we're talking students who go to Yale and Brown. They don't make the writing piece of it. That's a big thing.
So Diane has been instrumental in the whole AccuPlacer work that we do throughout the Career Center and the high school, and we have seen progress, but this sort of intentional work within the classroom is really a next step. So that we
It is.
really
It's
appreciate
going
that.
so well. I think pretty soon it'll just be normal.
Yeah.
And this is also helping prepare our teachers for the Common Core that's going to be coming into play next year also.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, ladies.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, anything else for the Career Center? That's all. That's all? You have awards ceremony coming up.
Oh, sorry.
Hear about
Yes,
that.
award ceremony for the Career Center this coming Wednesday evening. And we also are starting with our senior projects presentations at 5:30 in the band's cafeteria. And we'll lead into the award ceremony in the band's multi-purpose room at 6:30. So please join us if you can.
Keynote?
Wow.
I think so.
Something like that.
I had the
I
opportunity.
gotta confer with my speechwriter on that, then. I thought I was just an add-on.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to go to the spring dance program. And I'm not sure what the connection is exactly, but I know that there were many students who participated in that wonderful program that also were either at the high school or at the Career Center. So it was really a good program.
And actually, they're going to do about a 3 to 5 minute quick presentation, dance presentation at the awards night.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Well, let's see. Let's go back to BAMS. Now on the other end.
I'd like to start with some staffing. First, I have a resignation from Angela Saviano. It reads, Dear Ingrid Crisco, please accept this letter as formal notification that I'll be leaving my special education position at Brattleboro Area Middle School at the end of 2012-2013 contractual time period. Thank you for the opportunities that you provided me during my time with BAMS. If I can be of any assistance during the transition, please let me know. Signed, sincerely, Angela Saviano. Asking the board to accept this record.
Is there a motion to accept that resignation?
I move that we accept the resignation of Angela Saviano with regret.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. Accepted.
Thank you. I'd also like to present two recommendations for next year. The first one is we have an opening on Team Taurus math position. This is a position that has been vacated by Rebecca Friedman. So on behalf of Principal Crisco, the BAMS hiring committee that consisted of Ingrid Crisco by telephone, Eric Liberdoni, Ann Kaplinka-Lair, Michael Lonergan, and myself, I'd like to present Catherine Carter as our math candidate for the 2013-2014 school year. Ms. Carter comes to us from Guilford Central School, where she is a current math teacher for grades 6 to 8. Prior to her teaching assignment at Guilford, she worked at Chesterfield School in Chesterfield, New Hampshire for 18 years as a certified inclusion aide, as well as a long-term substitute math teacher. She earned her BA in mathematics from Western Governors University in 2011. She applied for the position at BAMS after her position was eliminated this year by the middle school merger. This position received over 20 applications. We interviewed 5 applicants, including 2 that were within WSESU school district. Ms. Catherine Carter, as I said, will be replacing Rebecca Friedman. Please accept this recommendation to approve Ms. Catherine Carter to join our math department and a teacher on Team Taurus at BAMS effective July 1, 2013.
Is there a motion?
I move we accept the appointment of Catherine Carter as the at the middle school.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. Accepted.
Thank you. I think there's a copy coming down. The second is a long-term substitute position for maternity leave in the guidance counseling department. So again, on behalf of Principal Crisco, BAMS hiring committee that consists of Paula Starkweather, Carrie Sullivan, our 2 guidance counselors, as well as Janice Nadler, our school clinician, and myself. I'd like to present Tracy Jacobs as our guidance counselor candidate for maternity leave starting August 19th through December 6th, 2013. Ms. Jacobs actually comes to us with 12 years of experience, most recently from E.R. Hicks Middle School in Hagerstown, Maryland, where she's been a guidance counselor since 2004. She earned a BA from Providence College and her Master's in Education and School Counseling from Western Maryland College in Westminster, Maryland in 2002. She applied for the position at BAMS after deciding to return to her home state of Vermont. She is a graduate of Wilmington High School. This position received over 18 applicants, and we interviewed 4 applicants. Ms. Tracy Jacobs will be replacing Mrs. Carrie Sullivan during her maternity leave. Please accept this recommendation to approve Ms. Tracy Jacobs as a long-term sub in the guidance department.
Okay, is there a motion?
Right.
I move we accept
The appointment.
The appointment of Tracy Jacobs in the, I shouldn't have done it. In the position of counselor advance. Is that vaguely close? Is that anyone close enough?
Second.
No one's gonna second.
Whatever that was, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve what Jerry said. All in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Okay.
As long as it's in the records that it's just a
She's hired.
a maternity position, not just a permanent position.
Yeah, you gave the actual dates, I mean.
I did,
Okay.
okay.
What she said.
So other searches and openings that we still have, we're still interviewing for a safety officer position. Ricky has joined us as part of the board on several of those interviews. We have actually quite a pool. We're very pleased about that. In fact, I told a candidate today that we've had more applicants for our safety officer position than I can remember. And it's great for our school because it really gives us an opportunity to find someone that we feel will be part of our school culture. Not only think about the safety of our students, but also, again, creating a positive, helping to create that positive experience for our community. So we're going to take our time. And we had a couple really good ones. We're inviting people back, and they've been shadowing so that they get an idea of really what the job is like. So they've done interviewing, and then some people are coming back to do some job shadowing. So we're really excited about that. German teacher, Karen Sebastian, who teaches at the high school, has always taught 2 periods, or 1 period every day of middle school German to our 8th graders. Karen has now accepted the position as head of the foreign language department at the high school, leaving our German teaching, or German position vacant. It's a very, I think it's like 1/8 position. I mean, it's a very small, kind of hard to find somebody who's sitting around, knows German, who's willing to step in and come in and teach just 1 period a day. But we may have found that particular person, believe it or not. So we have someone coming in to interview, and Karen has really been great. She's helping to kind of take the lead on this. I think Maggie Cassidy and Suzanne Grenoble and myself, at least right now, are the 4 that will be sitting in on that interview. And then, of course, with Angela's position, we have a special education opening. Marisa Duncan-Holly, who is the director of special ed, is kind of taking the lead on those. So I've been sitting in on some of those interviews when I can, just to kind of give you an update. We have Move Up coming June 12th. I can't say it enough, but it's happening 6 o'clock. Ricky Davidson is going to be our board speaker, so I thank you for doing that for us. Our 8th grade trips that Lori was talking, that it said in the last minutes that we took, they just had those last Thursday. The 2 8th graders, the 2 8th grade teams. One team went to Boston, and they went to like the Boston Common. Some went to the museums. Some did the Freedom Trail Aquarium, Faneuil Hall, of course. They had a great time. The other, that Boston group, I don't think got back until like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So the kids were very, very quiet the next day. It's kind of nice. The other team of 8th graders went up to the Essex Resort, and they participated in the Northern Lights Rock and Ice facilities there, where they were involved with climbing walls and zip lines, and really learning how to belay and support each other. A lot of students were facing their fears and jumping off, telephone poles while they were on belay, and others were very happy just staying on the ground and having that support role of belaying somebody and cheering somebody on. So I was here when they arrived, and I think they got back around 6:30 that evening, and were a little sunburned, but again, they all smiles. They had a great time.
Just an aside, that's where our administrative institute, our summer leadership institute, is going to be planning to meet in Essex, and we might have Jerry show us the
ropes.
The high ropes.
No, I didn't go.
Yeah, I know. He'll be up there.
I'll belay. I know how to belay.
That's good.
Yeah. So, that's it. Thank you.
Sounds like a potential place for a board retreat sometime,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Get off telephone poles.
Yeah.
I'll catch ya.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the UHS administration.
So we're kind of winding down one year and starting another year. We're really pleased that Friday, today, and tomorrow we've been welcoming all of our 8th grade visitors who are the class of 2017. And it's been great to meet those students and welcome them. We've had, the musical groups actually perform for them. We've had a 9th grade panel who kind of answer some questions about what is 9th grade life like at BUHS and what's different about BUHS and their school in 8th grade. And then at one point, all of the adults leave the room, and I don't know what they talk about, but they're still smiling when it's over, so I think it's so we give them some time to ask some candid questions. We spent a lot of time with them, and Paul Cohen, I can't say enough about the work he's done as the Director of Counseling to plan those visits and execute those visits, and all the work the counselors are doing to make those students feel welcome. The music department went on their own field trip. They went to New York City. And as part of that, they went to 2 shows, one of them The Lion King, and they also, half of the group went on a theater tour, and then the other half went to a Red Sox-Yankees game. And I'm pleased to report that the Red Sox did trounce the Yankees, so they took full credit for that. Steve Rice wanted me to mention that the parent chaperones were phenomenal and did a great job. He was really grateful to have parents like that would step up and help on a trip like that. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it went really well. They also had their Pops concert last week. It was a great show, and that concludes their performance season except for baccalaureate and graduation. Our sports teams are continuing in playoff play, or starting in playoff play. Last Friday, the boys lacrosse team did win their 3rd consecutive Marble Valley League, which is great for them. Both the boys and the girls begin their play-down play this Friday here at BUHS, and our girls softball team begins their playoffs tomorrow night here as well. And both tennis teams made an appearance in the playoffs. Some students did really well, but their seasons have ended. Last week, our modern and classical language and English department had their award ceremonies for seniors, where they awarded everything from Latin through Chinese through creative writing, and that was wonderful to see. And of special note was that the modern and classical language department has begun an award for students who travel, and it's called the Judith A. Abascal Award, in honor of Judy and her countless trips with students. So it was great to see Judy honored in that way. She was very touched by that. So beginning on Sunday, we begin to say goodbye to the class of 2013. And we have a full week ahead. On Sunday, June 9th, baccalaureate will be held in our courtyard. That's a great chance for students to perform, for students to speak. We have teacher speakers as well. It's a nice ceremony. It is, we ask that people dress nicely but not formal, and that is at 7 o'clock. On Monday, June 10th, we do our underclass awards for grades 9 through 11 in our gymnasium. Thursday at 6 p.m. in the auditorium is senior awards, and we honor our seniors and awards from various people in the community. And we're very glad that we have such a generous community that continues to support our seniors as they go to college. And then graduation, June 14th, 6:30, Natowich Field, for the first time ever facing in the opposite direction with the new grandstand. We have tested the sound system. We went out there, and I don't know if you heard the Santana playing, but it works. It works really well, and we're pleased, and we think that's going to go off without a hitch. The weather forecast looks great right now. I had no idea. I'm hoping. So we have a little bit of personnel business to take care of. First of all, I have a resignation Kelly Carter, who's been a special educator here for 9 years, is moving out of town. And Kelly has been in our Learning Skills Lab program for 9 years, done a great job for us, does a lot of work with individual students, does a lot of work with reading and literacy. We're beginning the process of replacing Kelly right now, but we will miss her dearly and ask the board to accept her resignation.
Is there a motion accordingly?
I move that we accept the resignation of Kelly Carter with regret.
Second.
Second by Laurie. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay.
On the other side of that, I'm very pleased to recommend the appointment of Tobias Moore as our English and TV production teacher. He'll be team teaching English production at Allison Cram next year. Tobias will replace Peter Canizera, who has accepted the position as our department head. Tobias has his degree from Boston College and his master's from Pittsburgh State. He has been teaching English at Prospect Mountain High School in Alton, New Hampshire since July of 2011. Before that, he taught at Newport High School for 6 years. And 13 people applied for this position, and we interviewed 6. The interview committee was Peter Canizera, Deb Heller, Karen Ternosky, Andy Haas, and Mike Collier. I would ask that we appoint Tobias to this position.
I move that we accept the appointment of Tobias, was it Tobias Moore?
Tobias Moore.
The position of English teacher?
And TV production.
And TV production.
Second. Second by Ricky. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, it's approved.
I'm also very pleased to recommend the appointment of Mr. John Kersey as an English teacher. John will replace Sue Boardman, who's retiring at the end of this year. John received his Bachelor of Fine Arts from Emerson in May of 2002. He's currently teaching at Keene High School, has been since 2006. 50 people applied for this position, 6 were interviewed. The committee consisted of Marilee Atley, Peter Canizero, Deb Heller, Andy Haas, and Ms. Ruth Barton. I would ask that we appoint Mr. Kersey as an English teacher.
I move that we appoint Mr. John Kersey as English teacher.
Okay. Second.
Second.
Melanie. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, it's approved.
Thank you. And last, I would just like to recognize the board members that served on the committees, and especially Ruth, who served on a lot of them. It was a lot of time, and I'm really grateful that you were willing to step up and help out, to everybody that helped out. I'd also like to thank the teachers. A lot of teachers served on a lot of committees to help us get ready, which meant time out of their classrooms and time that they had to prepare lessons and basically do their job twice as hard, and still were able to be professional and interview people from March all the way until this afternoon. So I'm going to thank the staff as well.
So you have a full team now?
Except for one special educator and a maternity leave in math, which I think we're going to fill tomorrow morning. So
Okay.
it's been a long process, I think.
Yes, it has. In addition to appreciation for those that served on the committee, for Steve to coordinate all this, because you were pretty much involved in every one of them. And it's a lot of additional work with the numbers that we had to replace. So great work.
Thanks.
And hopefully next year we won't have to have quite as many roles to fill. Okay, how about the central office?
All right, so I've got 3 items. One, I just wanted to remind people of the Supervisor Union Board meeting tomorrow night, Dummerston, 6:45. And your voting members are Ruth, Vicki, and Russ. You guys are available?
Yep.
Great.
Plan to be there.
Okay. I want to take a little time tonight to acknowledge Jerry Curry's work. Jerry has filled in for Ingrid, and I just spoke to Ingrid last night, I think it was, and she's doing well. And she's hoping to be back in the building mid-July, getting things ready for the next school year. But Jerry has done a phenomenal job covering for Ingrid, as well as the hiring process that Bob, you just recognize for Steve. Jerry's had a number of positions to fill and work through committees and done a really great job with that. Just the day-to-day work that happens at NAMS is enough in itself. Jerry and I have worked pretty closely on a couple of personnel matters, that just inevitable stuff that happens, and I've been really pleased with Jerry's involvement with that. She's worked with interim assistant principals. Mike Friel had started when Ingrid first went out, and we knew Mike was only going to be available for a number of weeks. Mike was the former principal at Oak Grove and did a great job with Jerry. And now Joe Rivers has filled in for the remainder of the year. Joe's been doing a great job, but it's really Jerry's work that's carried the process. So we appreciate your work on that.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
The next thing I wanted to do is give the board an update on the start time. Change in the start time. This is completing the second year. Now, I have some articles that some of you would have received a couple of years ago, probably 2.5 years ago. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time with that, but it's just for your information. And if I don't think there's enough for everyone, but if you need another copy, I can get you copies. And let me just give you a little background in terms of the rationale for the change, and then we can talk about the current situation. I would say the most compelling reason for the change, and this was something that the Supervisory Union-wide Attendance Council had been looking at for a number of years. But the most compelling thing is when you look at the research for adolescents and older adolescents needing more sleep to function for the school day. We had high school and middle school students that their pickup time for the buses were between 6:40 a.m. and 6:50. So, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, a lot of the kids as they get older have cars. But many of those students were out there at 6:40, 6:50, waiting for buses with a start time at the high school and middle school at 7:45. Quite frankly, when we moved the high school schedule to 8:45, we would have preferred to have it at 8:30. But because of the shifting the bus routes with the elementary and high school, we needed more time between the elementary runs and the high school run, because we didn't want to start the elementary system too early. That would have defeated the purpose of the whole idea of, sleep. So as it turns out, we needed to start the high school at 8:45 and middle school as well. Our elementary school schedules are, they start between 8:15. Some schools are 8:25. And quite frankly, the research shows that those younger students are probably up earlier anyway. We have not had many concerns at the elementary level in terms of that change in the start time. So they run from about 8:15 to 2:45 or 3 o'clock. Most of our schools have after-school programs, either enrichment or remediation. This, quite frankly, has helped us extend the school day for the elementary programs. So not only do schools have their extended programs that go probably for about 45 minutes to an hour, we also have the Aspire program that for families that need their students to stay until 5 o'clock. That program is still very viable in each of the elementary schools. We've started to track data. The first thing that was very apparent would be the tardy, the late start for students. The tardy data quite quickly improved as we were tracking that monthly. We continue to track that, and that's been a steady improvement. We've been starting to track grades last year into this year. Steve can talk a little bit more in detail in that. But we're just starting that in terms of, to see a significant change. But we are seeing a change, which is really good. One of the problems that we saw early on, and I worked with actually Chris Sawyer, the athletic director, about this in the beginning. After-school sports early releases for travel cut into classes. Although one of the things that I had been pressing then, and I continue to try to support, is that in the fall and spring, if we can start those practices 1/2 hour later in the games 1/2 hour later, that's going to give us a little help in terms of cutting into class time. One of the things that I think will help that as more regional high schools decide to adjust their schedule, it's going to put more pressure on the athletic leagues to push back their times. So that's kind of in the works in terms of several high schools looking at this. One of the things that I think on the other side of it, for winter sports, it's pretty helpful when we have night away games. Kids get to sleep an hour longer in the morning. And we try to avoid long trips during the week, but inevitably there are some that happen, and then an occasional bus that breaks down or something like that. So Steve, you had some information about grades, beginning to track that?
So tracking the grades has been a long process, and we're just starting to get some data from the last year before the change in this year. And so as we look at the number of course failures, just raw numbers of failed courses, in 2010, 2011, we had 426 failed courses. Last year, we had 371. So there's some improvement there. One thing is, if we look at first semester, we went from in 2010-11, we had 179 course failures, and then in 11-12, we went down to 166, and now this year we're down to 135. So we're seeing course failure data that's encouraging, that we have fewer numbers of courses failed. As we look at number of students that have failed courses, because some students fail more than one course, in 2010-11, we had a total of 265 students that failed courses. And then in 11-12, we had 227. Again, the trend is going in the direction we like. And if we compare first semester, because we have first semester data for 3 years, we have 121 in 2010-11, down to 112 in 11-12, and then this past semester, 12-13, it was 99. Is that all start time? I don't think so. I don't know. But I like to think that's a role. I think it plays a role in that. The other thing that we can't, that makes it harder to track the data is we've shifted our Algebra 1 course from a semester format to an all-year course. And we've done the same thing with our year-long English 1 course. So there's some things there that make equating numbers, especially for first semester, not as accurate as I'd like. But in general, we're seeing things going in the right direction. And as Ron said, for us, the other thing is, having our tardies drop by about 50% is great. And anecdotally, if a student is late at 8:45, that conversation is a lot easier to have. Because 8:45 is pretty late in the morning. And so that conversation is easier to have and students are responsive. The one area that was a challenge was having kids after school for extra help. Right now, if a student stays after school, they may leave at 4:30. That's one of our motivations to pilot our ACE period, which has been pretty successful, where we actually build in time for students to access teachers during the day. And that's been a pretty successful pilot so far. But in general, I think the failure data and our students getting D's and F's in general, we're seeing a good trend there that we're having fewer of that. And some of that is due to later start time, I think.
So statewide, is this something that's happening in a lot of high schools? Or?
When we first researched this, there were probably about 5 or 6 high schools, Burlington High School, South Burlington, Mount Mansfield Union High School, Champlain Valley Union High School. Those are the largest schools that were adopting this. And so there have been a few other schools that are moving towards this. I know Wyndham Central has been working on this for a couple of years, Leland and Gray and that high school, and then the surrounding elementary schools. One of the issues that have affected them, they're like the second largest geographic district in the state. And I think the financial end of it for the busing company, busing contract, is causing them to kind of delay what they want to do. They're very interested in starting later. So there are a number of schools that are looking at it.
What were the enrollments at the high school in those years? Has that been going down?
We've seen a slight,
So what is it? I mean, because I've been asked that lately.
well, today it's 849.
Sorry?
Today it's 849.
849.
Around 950.
Well,
Right.
It's been 900 for a while, and previously it was
Right.
higher. The thing I think about is combined with the elementary advantages to kind of the data that we're starting to see, it's a real plus because the elementary kids that are essentially getting an extra hour of instruction is really helpful. So what we're hoping is we're going to see that as we come through, as students come through the system, that type of enrichment, remediation is going to have some impact.
Well, thank you. I had kind of been behind requesting this when we first went to this different schedule. That was part of the reason. The research showed that performance in general would be enhanced, and I was aware that we had seen a decrease in tardies, but it's good to hear the actual, starting to get some performance data. At the end of the day, that's the, not to say a pun, but at the end of the day, that's what really counts is, are the students going to prosper from the change time? So,
Yeah.
and the other glitches, and as it applies to sports and so forth, I know it's been a challenge, and hopefully that'll, after a while, things will settle in.
And Chris works hard. Chris Sawyer works hard to see when he can schedule. Ron said he tries to do the later trips on the week, the longer trips on the weekend. So.
And in terms of transportation, and getting off the subject a little bit, but it seems that as time goes by, we have to provide transportation, but we have fewer and fewer riders on the bus, particularly at the high school level. I mean, I just don't know where that's going to go in the long run. But
I get some ideas. I mean, it probably was about 5 years ago that we cut a bus between Brattleboro Town and BUHS because of the ridership, and that had a dramatic negative impact for Brattleboro Town, the elementary schools. It didn't affect the high school that much, but when we instituted this change, to give us the cushion that we needed, First Student had just added that bus because they knew the connecting times wouldn't work. So there's a shuttle bus that works to make the schedule work. When we did the research for this, they said, yeah, we can make it work, and so I held them to that it wasn't working. So without that additional bus, it has improved it because of that. Down the road, if enrollment continues to drop, which I don't think it is, we're always looking at ridership and the numbers of buses and how we utilize those buses. But so that's just an ongoing review, and we'd be looking at that at the next budget cycle.
I would like to say that I don't know if it has a lot to do with enrollment. A lot of people, a lot of kids drive their own cars. So.
well, also as you get, we've got a big territory to cover. Maybe not as big as Northeast, but and so there are kids that don't like to ride the bus because from the time they get picked up to the time they actually arrive at school, I know from our neighborhood, it's quite a period of time. So there's that.
Yeah, so I've been at the red light at 8:30. I mean, it's amazing.
You got to avoid that.
Yeah.
Come the back way.
Yeah.
But so here's one of the dilemmas is between sports seasons, especially with band students. A lot of kids will participate in the sports or the activities, and then between seasons, these buses are full.
Yeah.
Because they need to ride home because they're not getting a late bus or the parents picking them up. And then in inclement weather, poor weather, that's when we see the ridership increase again. So there's these peaks and valleys that it's almost like we have to plan for the worst case in terms of the numbers and know that on any given day we don't have the ridership that we would typically want. And it's easy to say, well, that bus is only half full, so we could cut out half our buses. It's trickier than that.
I actually had a question about the starting time. And I remember when it was instituted, the student council did a survey, and there was sort of a feeling of reticence on the part of some students. And I was wondering if that has changed as time has gone by, that there's more an acceptance of the later start time.
Well, they don't know anything else now.
Right.
So it's, you know, yeah, and when the initial survey came out, you know, the students were split. I think it was 52 for and 48 against, something like that. I don't remember the exact, but I know it was within a couple of percentage points. But I think as students have come into the high school, that's just when school starts. So.
I think in the same survey, the teachers were somewhat split as well. Have they climbed on board?
I think so. I mean, some will always lament not being able to have kids here at 7:45. You know, some teachers still come in at 7 o'clock, and they just wait longer. They get work done, don't get me wrong. But, you know.
Some of them play basketball too.
Right, some people play basketball.
They're there at 6, so.
And, you know, some teachers have gotten creative, like they do, you know, they'll do their, if they have a dentist that is early in the morning, they'll get that first appointment in the morning and they'll do things like that. But yeah, it's kind of the way it works now, is that's when you come to work. And people are okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, the people who I think like the new system probably are pretty quiet about it because the changes are more subtle. And the feedback I get, to the degree I'm getting, the feedback tends to be negative, both from teachers and from students and from parents, and particularly in regard to athletics. I'm wondering if we have any numbers, I mean, not right now, but numbers in terms of changes in class periods or blocks, or you know, how much time is being missed because of the new schedule, because it's personal experience is pretty significant.
Yeah, there is more, I mean, they're leaving earlier, so there's more lost time.
And ACE period helps to give some time to catch up on those things, but it's not insignificant.
I have one more comment actually about the buses also, that it's sort of a requirement that in the eventuality of the need for evacuation, that you'd have to have the bus power also. And so that sort of carries through for the whole contract.
No, I realize that just as time goes by and you think about the carbon footprint and all that, I mean, you've got buses running around all over the place, but it's we're a victim of our geography.
I think one of the really good things is the fact that the most recent contract that we're entered into with First Students, that acknowledged some of the cost savings that they can make, and it was pretty significant in terms of not only throughout the whole SU, but to the UHS, I think it was a $30,000 savings for next year's contract. That's good.
I was just wondering about just talking specifically about the outlying areas. Has there been, I know that there's some shuttling going on, but I wonder what the number of total kids coming in from, say, Putney is, and if there couldn't be more of a, you know, for the central school there, whatever buses were there to get those kids to the central school, couldn't they kind of meet at the center of town and put all of the kids on for the high school on the larger bus and go on in? I just wonder if the numbers would work with that.
Yeah, they made some
one
adjustments.
large bus all the way into town, and smaller buses could do the very extended route in Putney.
Now, when you say smaller buses,
You know, the special bus.
Oh,
You know.
I mean,
The shorter bus.
Putney actually did make some modifications last year to this year, actually mid-year last year. But I don't know that they could do anything more with the smaller buses. Part of it's, I mean, Dummerston goes through this as well in terms of the expectation of the stops, and they try to consolidate that as much as they can. But that's a challenge with families that are.
I just mean in terms of the buses coming into the high school from the outlying areas, how could we consolidate those groups a little bit more, rather than having 3 half-full buses going in for that drive?
Yeah, I don't think it is any longer that. I think Dummerston and Putney are combining that.
They have combined for a while. They've always run combined, I think, but I don't know if they're.
They eliminated one of the runs.
Right.
So I can
I'll go into more detail with that. Have my cross routes in front of me.
And also another question was, does BAMS have a later start schedule?
Yes.
So all the other middle schools are at the early time.
Well, you know,
Frontline
again,
schools.
like Dummerston, K-8, there, I think 8:25, Putney's
There's
8:15, Guilford's been 8:50. That'll change for the students.
I have long since given up trying to figure out bus routes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two buses that come down Route 5, one right after the other. One turns this way, the other one turns that way. Why they do it, I have no idea. There's somebody smarter than I am trying to figure it out.
Well, the key is that it's continually looked at and reviewed and modified. That's, I think we just don't keep doing the same thing just because that's what we always...
No, they change from time to time.
Okay, well, thank you. Anything else on the central office?
No.
Okay. I have nothing specific other than, do all board members get the VSBA legislative reports?
Oh, yes.
Get that? Okay, so then you probably noticed that the legislature obviously is wrapped up, but there's a pretty good report that summarized all that out there. And there was some potential damage that could have been done at the very end of the session that fortunately was avoided, which is often the case. That a lot of things get thrown up there and they see if any of it sticks. And
Did generate a little communication, doesn't it?
yeah, several different items, but the legislature's wrapped up its work for the year, so I'm sure they have summer committees trying to figure out things to change for next year, but we'll see how that plays out. Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. Policy reviews.
As I stated before, planning policy hasn't met, so we're not ready to move forward with any of these policies. We'll just push them out until next session.
Okay, so that would be the non-discrimination, prevention of harassment, HIV, transportation, and prevention of bullying of students.
And the school animal policy.
And this, yeah, school animal policy.
So that'll be back for another review.
Well, some of them, maybe most of them, will be ready to be adopted next time. I just have to go and compile everything and get that list to Barbara when she does the next notification.
Okay. Anything else under unfinished business? If not, we'll move into new business and we'll talk about the summer schedule. Typically, if my memory serves me correctly, in June we have only had our first meeting because of all the activity that goes around graduation and so forth. And if we were to have a second meeting, it would be the Monday after graduation. And I'm not sure that there's everybody's going to be worn out from all the activities, but there's generally not a great deal of important items. And we have also typically, and institutional memories here can correct me, have met generally once a month for July and August, with perhaps somewhat of a planning session in August. Ruth?
Well, don't stop mid-sentence for me.
No, you can go ahead. That's just kind of what we've generally done. Doesn't mean we have to do that. We can meet every week if we want, I guess.
You can if you want. Well, I move that we adopt a summer schedule as follows. That we eliminate the second June meeting, that would be the third Monday in June, and the first July meeting, which would be the first Monday in July, because it frequently conflicts with the 4th of July, so that we would meet next on the third Monday in July, and then meet the third Monday in August, unless we need to meet for some reason in the interims.
I'll second that.
Okay.
That's my proposal. And I can make
July
it
15th, August 19th.
Okay. So it's moved and seconded. Discussion, I guess my only question would be moving to the, you said the third Monday in August, is that getting too close to opening day?
Well, we'll be on the top of a pole in Essex on the 12th, so we won't be available.
Top of the telephone pole?
Yeah.
The 5th?
So the,
Okay,
19th.
I think the 19th is actually the best.
okay.
So just to be clear, that was June 3rd, July 15th, and August 19th?
Yes.
July.
And
July 15th and August 19th.
yeah, and if there is some serious issues that come up, we can call and schedule meetings in addition to that, because we're about to authorize committees to do some work in the summer. So, okay, is that everybody on board with that?
Is Barbara going to send us notices for these meetings, or should I
Yeah.
take these down now too? Yeah.
I have a question. Is
Yeah.
the August meeting the workshop?
Like the goal setting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
7 o'clock?
Or will we get, well, I guess maybe we'll figure that one out and advise well ahead.
I mean, could people do like 6 o'clock?
Yeah, start a little earlier.
I know we used to do it a little differently
Yeah.
on the town board.
Yeah.
So how would 6 o'clock be?
On August 19th. And maybe we can provide some
Entertainment.
chow.
Entertainment.
We always provide that too. Ron and I will practice dancing all summer.
That's right.
Well, you can demonstrate telephone pole sitting.
Yeah.
Wow, you'll be back
We'll
from
bring a
that.
video.
We'll bring the video.
Actually, the video would be probably better, just to watch
Yeah.
the actual footage.
Okay.
Make sure the sound is on.
Gotta know the languages.
Okay, well, are all in favor of that then?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, that's the summer schedule. Now we need to authorize 3 committees for work during the summer, and I would entertain a motion as it applies to the Teacher Curriculum Committee.
I move that we authorize the teacher curriculum committee to make hiring decisions during the summer months.
Second. Second by Ricky. Okay. Any discussion of that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Whoops.
I would just say real quick that basically the TCC would meet as needed based on what the administration needs related to that. So we would put those 2 meetings together as the administration comes forward with needs, and we would put together a committee meeting as quickly as we could to handle that business as fast and as efficiently as we could. So.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. Next, a motion regarding the Finance Committee.
I move we authorize the finance committee to approve warrants during the summer months. And I presume we will meet twice a month, as we always do.
We generally do maintain our twice-a-month schedule in finance for the
At
summer.
7 a.m.
Yeah. We have occasionally, if there's not a whole lot ready for us on warrants, have pushed one away, but generally we still meet twice a month, July and August. No rest for the weary.
I second the motion.
Is there a motion?
I moved it.
Okay. You second?
I
Melanie seconded? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay. One more, and that's the BAMS Committee.
I move we authorize the BAMS committee to make hiring decisions over the summer.
For them and then also financial.
Yeah, conduct financial and personnel matters during the
Oh.
summer. Was there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Oh, you were,
That was an aye.
oh, that was a late aye, okay. Aye. Okay, so we have marching orders for the TCC, Finance, and Bands Committee for the summer. Is there anything else under new business? Is there a need for executive session that anybody knows of? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
Anybody
going
know
to,
what Ruth's going to say?
you don't know what I'm going to say.
She's going to give you the score of the Bruins game. They're up 1-0. Washington scored with 28 seconds.
No, I'm going to reply to Mr. Perrin, who thanked us for being on his committees, and I want to tell him how much I have enjoyed being on those committees. It's always a joy to be on those committees and to work with the administration and faculty, and I think that we've got it pretty well down. We do a pretty darn good job. And there was a remark made at the TCC that we were losing a lot of good teachers, and it's true, we are losing a lot of good teachers. However, I think we're gaining a lot of good teachers as well. And I'm really looking forward to the next year and all of our new faces. And now,
Everybody's just staring at you.
if no one else has anything to add, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second?
There was a second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we stand adjourned.